We'll just try this little area again after catching that fish. There's another fish. I'm just going to take it away from that area just in case there's more there. I knew there might be another one there after catching that other fish. It seems like a nice fish. Took the point fly again, the little hairs here with a microfiber tail, pink. This is a stunning fish. Wow, that's absolutely beautiful fish. Yep, took the little hairs here again. There you buddy. It flies out. Oh, cracker. Get this guy back, see if we can catch another one. Thank you, buddy. Beautiful fish. Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, thanks for joining me today. Now guys, you join me on one of my favourite rivers in Scotland for grayling fishing. It is winter, it's the second week in January. And for those of you that don't know, in Scotland the trout season is closed just now and it restarts again in March. But one of the fish that we catch in Scotland, which is in a few of our rivers, and it is Scotland's, I believe, #1 winter game fish, and that's the grayling. Which you obviously seen me land. They are stunning fish. So the river I'm on is the River Nith, and this section that I'm on is it's a new section that I'm fishing today. I've never been on this section before, but this area that I'm on just now is a lovely little stretch, and there's a few runs on this beat which I'm sure are going to hold many more grayling. So yeah, I'm just working this little run here. The pace of the water, you maybe not be able to see it on camera, but the pace of the water here is it's about walking pace, maybe just a slightly slower at this section, at this part. There's a lovely run just up ahead, but it's not a really fast run, so I should be able to fish the whole lot of this run from where I am just now upriver, and hopefully it's going to hold a bit more grayling for us to see today, and then it just goes down this section here into a nice flat glide. Now obviously that flat water is a bit slower. It's not ideal for euro nymphing, but it certainly would be good for maybe using the indicator or something like that, which I'm not going to use today. I'm just going to stick it out, the euro nymphing setup. Now for those of you that don't know, I am quite new to euro nymphing. In fact, I only started last season. I really enjoy it. It is really effective. So when I first started, I did do a lot of research into euro nymphing, and it all started from last year on my first sort of season of grayling fishing, and the euro nymphing has come from that, really, from starting grayling fishing with the float. And I thought I'd like to try something else to target these wonderful fish. So I started grayling fishing last year, like I said, and most things you see about euro nymphing, it's all about fishing a short line technique. And that's obviously come from the euro nymphing competition scene. For the competition anglers, they are restricted in their length of leader that they can fish, which really affects their casting distance. I think that was a bite. Yeah, so it really affects their casting distance. So most people associate euro nymphing with a short line technique. You know, maybe fishing 15 feet, 20 feet in front of you. And the competition anglers, they are restricted in terms of their length of leader, which is from the start of their leader to their point fly. It can't exceed 2 lengths of the rod that they use, and that's why a lot of competition anglers use 11 foot plus rods to give them that extra reach. So anyway, I started euro nymphing, and to be honest with you guys, I just hated the short line. Now it looks like I'm fishing a short line just now, but that cast I done just now, that was 30 feet. And you know, normally you would see, so I bring some line in, and normally you would see euro nymph anglers, you know, it'd be a flick short line. They'd fish with heavy nymphs most of the time, and they'd have one hand on the rod, literally no line management, and one hand in their pocket. And to me, that was just boring. And I really disliked it, even though I started on that technique, and it does catch fish. Obviously the competition anglers, you know, they catch fish on that, but it has got its drawbacks fishing a really short line, in that in order to catch fish you've got to get really close to them to catch them. So for me that's a drawback, especially when the water's low, skinny and clear. You know, you try and get close to your fish, and all you're going to do really is spook them. Plus, a big river like this, fishing a short line, in order to reach fish, you've got to wade to your sort of maximum limits. And I had 2 accidents last year wading. The first time my waders just filled up with water, and it was fine, it wasn't a hassle. The next time I was wading to my maximum limit in order to reach fish short lining. My waders filled up again and I was swept downstream, and yeah, I thought I was a goner, guys. So yeah, I really dislike fishing a really short line. But like I said, there's times and places, and it's all situational, and you'll get away with fishing a short line. Like now, you know, I could fish a short line just now, fish close to me, and then I can just extend my casting range rather than extending my wading range in order to reach those fish. So I'm going to get back to my normal casting style. A lot of the times anglers use a short line technique is because they think that casting at any sort of distance with a Euro rig is difficult. And you can see, guys, that just a little flick of the wrist, and it is all wrist movement rather than arm movement, unlike traditional fly fishing, where it's probably 95% arm movement and 5% wrist movement. A Euro nymph style cast, like I'm doing just now, it is pretty much 95% wrist movement and 5% arm movement. As soon as you use any exaggerated arm movements, your flies or your nymphs just go where the hell they want, and it just reduces accuracy in your casting when you put arm movement into your cast. So as you can see, just a little flick of the wrist, rather than this big windmill effect that people do when they're Euro nymphing. They call it an oval cast or a round cast, where they take their rod literally round their head. Big arm movement. They're obviously keeping contact with their bugs in order to cast it, or lob it, or flick it. But yeah, this is just so easy, just a little flick of the wrist, and you can chuck the bugs out 30 feet without any issue. So, for those of you that are interested, the rod I'm using is a 10.5 foot Vision Nymphmaniac, and it's a 3-weight. And my line setup is I've got Euro fly line on my reel, and attached to my fly line I've got 20 feet of 4x level line, and it's a Pezon and Machel colour line. I do love that rectangle, I think. That's out. I do like the Pezon and Machel colour line. It is very supple. It's poker straight. It is 100% memory free. Hence the reason I like it. And I have a 5 foot 4x sighter. Again, that's Pezon and Machel, and it's just a yellow sighter. And my tippet is 6x fluorocarbon. The reason I'm fishing 6 feet of tippet is it is about 4 feet deep here. And I'll adjust my tippet throughout the day, depending on the depth. Fishing a 2-fly rig. I've got the sort of natural coloured hare's ear on the point fly, size 16, 3.5mm bead. It's a copper bead, and as I say, that's just got like a little pink micro flash tail, really short, and that's really the only flash that I've got on that bug. On the dropper I've just got a drab pheasant tail, copper bead, 3mm. So all I'm doing to work this stretch of water is making several casts in one area, taking a step up or a couple of steps up, and just repeating the process. Push on, guys. Dropper again. This is a wee brownie actually. Yep. Do the little hairs here. Come on. Lovely little fish, a bit thin. And the reel's loose. Just a little guy. Lovely little fish. Took the blowtorch. That's a fish, guys. Feels like a reasonable one. It's on the pink tag hairs here. Yeah, feels like a nice fish. Oh, that's a brownie. No, it's not. It's the target species. Oh! Turned me the wrong way. That was a nice fish. Another fish on, guys. Hopefully we can land this one. Get a look at it. Doesn't feel as big. Just on that single pheasant tail. It's a nice fish. Can't see it in this sun. Yes. Oh, it's a lovely fish. Get this hook out. Trying to mess about getting a picture, and it got away. There's a fish. Oh, tiny guy. Took that dropper again. Perfection in miniature. That's a fish. Another little guy. It's on the dropper this time. Took the dropper. It's a little scud pattern. Another homemade fly, so really pleased I'm getting fish on my own nymphs. Makes it really rewarding. So that's one on the dropper, which is a little hare's ear with the micro flash pink butt. I should say micro flash pink tail, and one on the scud on the dropper. That's another fish. Brilliant. Seems a little bit bigger, this one. Oh, lovely fish. Nice. Took the dropper again. Little scud. Oh, that's a stunning fish. Come on, guy. Lovely fish, guys. Little female. 2.5 pound. Get this girl back. So what I thought I'd go into just now, guys, just to give this video some more value rather than this video just being a catching fish video, is there was 3 main elements today that really constituted towards success on the river today, and 2 of those elements were actually dictated by the clear water conditions. And the first thing that was important today was my nymph choice. Now, I did start on brightly coloured nymphs, and Grayling readily take brightly coloured nymphs, whether it be a brightly coloured bead, a hot collar, or a brightly coloured tail. And I tried those in the early part of the morning with no success. And in fact, the brightest fly that I used today was the blowtorch, which is at the top there, and I had a couple of fish on this, which was fishing in deeper water. They were only small grayling, probably about 7 to 8 inches long, but that was the only fish that had in any sort of bright colours. I also realised, because of the water conditions, that the fish they were really more concentrated in the sort of slower to medium pace current in the river, and they were in a depth between 3 and 4 feet. And because I didn't have any success on the brighter coloured nymphs, I quickly changed to a more natural or drab coloured nymphs. The main nymph that I had success on today at the bottom there is a size 16 hare's ear, and that's got a 3.5mm copper bead. And as you can see, it's just a sort of natural colour hare's ear, a little bit of black ice dub, and it's got a tiny micro glint pink tail. And that accounted for most of the fish today, including one of the biggest. And the second nymph I had success on today is more of a shrimp or scud type pattern. This is a size 18 with a 2mm silver inverted bead, and as you can see, it's quite plain in colour, quite dark, and this accounted for about 3 or 4 fish, and another one being one of the biggest of the day as well. The next key element that was important today, I felt, was the ability to be able to cast at distance. Because of the water conditions being quite clear, there was no way I was getting close to the fish today because of the clear water. And in fact, I only had 1 fish today that was relatively close to me, and I only caught that really because I fished upstream. So it was a cast upstream, bringing the line towards me, and it took me obviously because I was below the fish. And I think that's something to sort of take away if you are only fishing a short line, is you'll maximise your chances if you cast upstream where the fish can't see you, and obviously you can sort of creep up on them. Now, I did say earlier in the video that, you know, I've not been euro nymphing for long, and, you know, I do consider myself as a novice euro nymph angler. Now, you probably noticed from my casting style, it's not the prettiest of casts. I'm still learning, I've still got a long ways to go, but I'm improving all the time, and I'm improving by practicing at home in the garden and time on the water. I also said that I wanted to get away from this short line technique, and straight out the gates from starting I said to myself there's got to be more to euronymphing than just fishing a short line. So I did a bit of research and I found this guy. His name's Corey. He has a YouTube channel called Old Dominion Trout Bum, and after watching his channel he completely changed my euronymphing world, and he made me realise that there is more to euronymphing than fishing a short line. Corey catches some amazing fish, but what he does do is he emphasises the key fundamentals in euronymphing, and in particular the ability to be able to cast at distance. Guys, if you've not seen Corey's channel, I do urge you to go and check him out, and you can thank me later for that one. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description of Corey's channel, and as I said guys, you won't be disappointed. Go and check him out. Now, the third and last element of today's success really was down to my ability to read and understand the sighter, and I think it's key to any success in any form of euronymphing, no matter what leader you use or what setup you use. Your ability to read the sighter is your eyes to what's happening below the surface, not only for seeing bites, but understanding how you're drifting, what depth you're at and how fast you're drifting. If you're a euronymph angler and you rely on feeling the fish biting rather than seeing the fish biting on the sighter, then quite simply guys, you're missing a ton of fish. I had one fish today that I felt the take, and that was more of a downstream drift. In fact, the nymphs were just starting on the swing. I felt the take and I was lucky enough to hook into it. It was only a small fish, but nevertheless it was the only fish that I felt. And if I relied on feel today guys, I would have had one fish for all my efforts today, because all the other fish today that came, I actually saw the take. I saw the sighter twitch ever so slightly, it just moved differently to what it did in its normal drift, and I struck into those movements on the sighter. And I think that's key and essential in any form of euronymphing. So guys, if you like this video, give a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of this type of content, then please consider subscribing. Thanks very much for watching guys, tight lines, and I'll see you next time on Piscator UK.